Cootsy's dad always had a suit on, from bedside to bedside. Mr. W. Waddy, Shepherdstown's train station man for some 34 years, finished his pancakes at his home in New Street. Just as his wife Julia passes the pancakes around to Julian, Peg, Bill, Polly, and Blackford, who the other boys called Cootsy. It's June 1927. The kids are out of school. And Dad gets up. Julia gives him a kiss at the door.
I would not marry a farmer, he's always in the dirt. But I would marry an engineer who wears a striped shirt. A railroader mother, a railroader for me. If ever I marry in all my life, a railroader's bride I'll be.
Now Julia, she was a Blackford. She met Wade after he'd come up from Island Ford, Virginia. They married and they came here. They rented in 22 in Hartzell's house down on the county road, and then they bought their own place here on New Street. They had to keep the windows closed because of the kids. There was an Episcopal priest living just across the street. Mr. Waddy walks down New Street, past the Billmeyers, where Cootsy's best buddy Cameron lived. Now, Mrs. Billmeyer knew that if her clock didn't say 7:30 when Mr. Waddy came by as a shadow on her window, she knew that the clock was wrong and Mr. Waddy was right, because he set the time for God and all the heavenly angels. W. Waddy glances over at the Hodges lemon grain elevator in the coal yard to see if some coal cars on the siding were unloaded yet. Pocahontas coal was in the bin. His boss, the Norfolk and Western, owned some of those fields. Mr. Willoughby Lemon took over the elevator from Van Meter, who took it over from Kearney. Old Sam Hodges had a store down on the corner. At the station, the children rise up out of the dusty street. As one put it, like lean, dusty tatterdemalions. And they're smiling up at him in the shirts made from the feed store sacks and sheared off pants and sheared off skirts and barefoot and peeking up at him from under those big straw hats. They loved Mr. Waddy and all his magic powers. He made the train stop and go with just the wave of a hand. Now Polly, Cootie's sister, was so proud of her daddy that she'd bring all her friends down to the station just to look at him. W.W. Waddy talked with the kids. He apprised them and advised them. Kids, the Spanish nuts in the dispense has been there a good while. The chocolate has worms too, I reckon. Stick with the chiclets in those tiny little boxes, kids. Each kid really wanted to get away from the engineer on the next train, hopefully. Each dreamed of being the very next Henry Selby. You see, Pendleton, or Penn Zeiler, was the first engineer on this line, and he drove the first train into Shepherdstown. Penn called his train the Madam, and he shined the brass on her so you could see your big old nose in it. Once, when the Madam was in for repairs, just as he always would do, he would sit it out and wait for her return. Now, once the Madam's cab was wrecked